Free will versus determinism. What do you think about that?
When we come in, they say you have to surrender. And me being stubborn, even to that point, it stuck in my craw, surrender. And I do surrender to his will, but even that is a choice I make every day, every minute, every day. I used to beg him to take my will away from me because my will was to drink and do evil, and he wouldn't. He wouldn't. But so his will was that I not die and that I get through all that and that I become someone who genuinely seeks that relationship with Jesus Christ every day and to show that through my life to others. But I still right now could get up from here and go to the liquor store. I still have that will. He could give me a heart attack on the way or have a semi-truck run me over on the way if he didn't want me to. So, yeah, he hasn't taken my free will from me, but I willingly give it to him. I choose to follow him.
And how do you reconcile that with, okay, so God is omnipresent, he's omnipotent, he knows everything before it happens. There's no time or space with God. He knows the decisions you're going to make before you make them. How do you reconcile that, which sounds like determinism? How do you reconcile that with free will?
I'm a father and a grandfather. I can't tell you that I know God's mind. I know what he has given me. But I can only relate it to, like Jesus did. He came here as us and related to us as men. And, the Father, he talks about his Father, right? And Jesus, the man side of him submitted to God's will. He said, please take this cup from me, but if it's your will, I'll do it, right? But as a father, I tell my children when they were young, raise up a child in the way they should go, and when they were old, they will not depart from it. I would tell them, I'd try to teach them when I wasn't drunk the right things to do. But I knew they weren't going to do them all the time. But I knew they were learning from it. And I knew one day, because I had to make my mistakes, they had to make theirs. And that's what I see. I could have just been a tyrant and made them do everything I said. But that's not love. Love is allowing them to make their own mistakes and learning from them. And having the faith that eventually they would, prayerfully, hopefully they would see that and grow from it and turn to God and raise their families in the same way.
Right. You want robots. You want people to make their own decisions about right. Loving you, and this is how you see it. Yeah, that makes sense.
The most loving thing, mm-hmm. Think about that. God, he could have made us all obey. Made us perfectly, but he didn't. He loved us enough to allow us to hurt him.
Something that, I've been thinking about recently is like, why in the heck would 1/3 of the angels say, screw you, we're going to go do our own thing? Like, knowing what they know. This seems absolutely insane. Other than they had free will and they had pride. I don't know. Like, knowing what he can do.
Yeah. That's part of the blessing that we have now. We know what free will gets us when we exclude God from it. That's why we have the unfair advantage. Maybe it's the same that we have that advantage over those angels that rebelled. We know what disobedience gets. But even then, without without that happening, where would we be? We wouldn't have had the opportunity to suffer the consequences of our own actions. I'm just
Right.
glad he did what he did when he did it. You know, he's, you know, his ways are not our ways. I can't possibly pretend to understand his wisdom, but I do feel his love. I'm a father. Would I give my child for somebody else? Not a chance. You know, he was God and human, but his human side was fully human, fully God, fully human.
Right.
The human side felt everything. He
Yes.
felt all the humiliation, the insults, the lies, the beatings, the torture. Like nobody's ever, if you ever dig into what a Roman crucifixion is, it's the most horrific thing you ever saw. It's not like you see those churches that have them still on the cross, you know, just a little cut here and a white robe. That ain't the way it was. They beat him so bad you couldn't tell whether he was a man or a woman. He was sliced open. His bones were laid bare. And so the human side of him, you know, God did that for us.
Right. And as far as human emotions, he felt deeply. Remember when Lazarus died, they say he wept.
That's right.
So he was fully human. I mean, even knowing that we are spirits in a body, he'll see Lazarus again, but he was still human, and he felt that loss.
That's right.
Fully human.